When you think about your existence in the world and you think about the opportunities you have, what you get to create, and whether you believe in prayer, the universe, God, spirit, you at some point have to release your desires and let them become whatever they are going to be. This is the act of letting go and releasing control. You see, control is something that is very frequent in the conversations I have with many of my clients, my friends, my family. And it's something that I have had to practice to learn how to let life happen, to release the areas in which I can't control the outcome and I might not be able to create a solution. But it is the most uncomfortable feeling because not only do you often feel this sense of responsibility to make the end product a certain way or a certain thing, but you feel this desire and this knowing of like, it has to be this way. And you see, that's just our brain trying to protect us, trying to let us feel safe. And it's a false sense of safety because you see, our brain is only aware of known things. And a lot of what is happening in the world is unknown. And so our brain wants to control the outcome. It wants us to grasp at the different scenarios that we have identified that are available to us. But what if you could release control? What if you could practice the art of allowing and totally surrender so that what our brain is doing stops making our energy leak? See, the art of allowing is truthfully the art of relaxing, trusting. It is the practice of no longer energetically leaking. Our brains will continue to go into known cycles and behaviors. They will continue to identify known patterns. But what creativity is asking of us is to surrender to the unknown, to let go of the things that we think we have control over, and to say, this or better. And that is truly when life starts to surprise us, is when we can shut off the brain, when we can stop trying to create the outcome that our brain has identified, and we can surrender to, what if it's so much better? What if it gets to be so much more magical? What if the art of allowing was truthfully this surrender of control? And if you're exhausted, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling anxious, this is your opportunity to ask yourself, where am I allowing my brain to drive? And where am I trying to control when I really should be practicing surrender? We feel responsible, which is why we have this desire to control. We feel like we have to cling to these outcomes. But I want to invite you into the opportunity of surrender and letting go of control so that you can stop leaking your energy, because it's not all for you to fix. It's not all for you to solve. Sometimes there are no solutions. Sometimes the solution is full surrender, full trust. And I know that that can be such an annoying thing to hear. Oh, give it to God. Oh, pray on it. Oh, journal it. Let it go. Let it go. And I remember there was this pivotal moment in my life, in my story, where people kept telling me, you have to let this go. You have to move on. And I kept thinking about, well, how do I do that? Like, how do I actually turn off my brain? Because honestly, you guys, that sounds like an amazing gift, right? To shut off my brain. That sounds amazing. I would love to do that. But how do I do that? And what I have discovered is you don't let go by not caring. You don't let go by deciding that you're going to forget about it completely. You let go by changing the narrative, changing the dialogue. This or better is something that I started practicing, saying this or better. and life surprised me. And I started to slow down and I started to jump to the thing that I could control, right? The things that I can't control, they'll drive you insane. And you'll continually try to create solutions that aren't available, that you just don't have access to. And so, what I did start doing in order to let go, in order to soften my edges, in order to really calm my nervous system, was I started to look at the things I could control. I could control the food that I'm intaking. I could control my water consumption. I could control the things that I'm watching and listening to. I could control the rooms and situations I was putting myself in. I could control the conversations I was willing to participate in. I could control whether or not my space was clean and organized. And the moment you start to turn your focus to the things that you can actually control, you start to realize that the only person you have control over is you, and the way that you choose to show up, and where you choose to show up, and how you choose to show up. You might not be able to control the weather, but you do have control over how you respond and how you react and how you receive the weather. So, if this is piquing interest for you, I beg you to ask, where am I grasping? Where am I clinging and trying to control a narrative that is not mine to control, that I truthfully have no control over? And though I feel responsible, I lovingly learn to let this go and focus on the areas in which I can control. You can control the way that you react to life. You can control the way that you respond to things that are happening around you. And you do have the ability to change your circumstance, to change your situation, to do something different in your life. It is time for you to understand that the control you have is you, and you get to choose what happens next.